Gurbaksh, thanks for welcoming us into your home.
Thank you for coming.
It's really a pleasure to be here. It's beautiful. So your story is so fascinating. At 18, you sold your first company, ClickAgents, for $40 million. Your second company, within 7 years, in 2007, sold that company for $300 million to Yahoo, and you were just kind of getting started. So take me back to the start, and actually when you came to this country from India with your family.
I came when I was a month shy of 4 in '86, and I didn't know what to expect. And I think that the big difference for me versus kind of my siblings were they were much older than me, so they actually had somewhat of a life in India and a big change, kind of a fish out of water type experience in America. For me, I didn't know what to expect since I was still young. I stayed a year with my grandmother before I went to school. And then it was like, whoa, being with my grandmother, being loved and cherished, and not knowing all the realities of what the world is. It gives you the first day of school when you're the awkward looking one, and nobody wants to be your friend, and you basically realize, okay, this is probably the first day of a very, very long future. And so I learned very early on who I was, or I was forced to learn that very early on, whether that was through physical characteristics or was that through just going through the different years of school that forced me to realize, okay, I got great family, I got great opportunity to be in America. Now let's make the best of it.
But there were difficulties, I guess, in fitting in school. You had mentioned, bullies. I know that your grandmother was played a very critical role in how you viewed things.
Well, I think that I grew a very thick skin early on. I didn't know what to expect. First it started off with verbal, then it became physical, then it became life-threatening, where just kids wanted to go ahead and make their point or take out their aggression somehow. And I guess that's the art of bullying, where you got a lot of aggression at home, you bring it to school, and you basically take it out on others. And I unfortunately was the victim of that. And every time it got worse, I would come back home, turban in my hands, with my grandmother, and she would basically say, you know what, don't worry, you're a good son, you're my favorite son, things will get better, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And some of those things was all I needed to go ahead and make another day.
At what point did the switch happen where you were able to just embrace being different and turn that so-called problem into an opportunity for you?
I think I did that in different parts of my life. I did that when I was going to school, where I used the negative energy as positive energy to figure out what I should do and how I should mature and what my life is. It's kind of like that question you say, what's the meaning of life, right? I kind of had that moment that early on in life because I didn't have any friends to distract me with. So I figured out what the meaning of life was, which was, make my grandmother proud of me, be the best I can, support my family, all that turning points that led me to figure out what I wanted to do. And there was probably no time I can say that there's a switch that comes on, because it's a gradual progress. Like right now, if I go up and talk about advertising, right, the switch goes on, and I love that. I've been doing it for 14 years. I will stand up and wow hopefully an audience about what I think the future is, because that's just a natural 14-year experience that comes into it. Now if somebody asks me to sing, I'm probably not going to be as confident, but that's just a natural progression that ends up happening through time.
Can you sing?
No.
The aha moment for what you were going to create with your first business. Can you describe that for me?
In early '99, I was very much or '98, I was very much enthralled in this internet euphoria that was going on. I remember one company called DoubleClick, and it had a $300 million IPO. A few months later, it became like this massive double-digit billion-dollar company, and I basically said, I want a piece of that. I'm going to go ahead and figure out what they're doing, even though I suck at math, I don't know programming, even though I'm Indian, that doesn't apply to me, but I'm going to figure out what I need to do to surround myself to create that first step.
When you were starting out, you were 16, right? Starting this company, and how did you get over and deal with being so young and starting a company?
When I realized I was going to be serious and I dropped out of high school and college to focus on my business, the thing that I ended up doing is saying I forgot my age. Like, there was a part of me that I didn't know what birthday I was celebrating, the birthday that people thought I was or the actual birthday I actually have. And that allowed me to go ahead and mature beyond belief because nobody questioned it. Nobody questioned my age would be an issue because everybody was focused on what I was going to do for them.
With young entrepreneurs, what would be your best advice for them?
When you're starting off, it is you get ready to get beaten up and slammed. I thought people would help me. I thought because I was Indian, the Indian entrepreneurs would help me. I thought, because I had a business that was making money, people would want to know about it. That doesn't work. And I think the dynamic that changed for me was realizing that if you change the table around and you make people realize that there's something in it for them or the perception there's something in it for them, the conversation changes.
What has been your most humbling moment?
I would say the first one being my father and I have a very different relationship where we're not lovey-dovey type personalities. He's a very strict father, but the day I sold BlueLithium was of a father that was extremely proud and realized that his son achieved something that was beyond his belief. And the second one, I think this is probably the only regret I have in my life, is that I spent 14 years of my life being a businessman. That you realize that you're doing it for certain people, and for me, I was doing it for my grandmother. And since she passed away, and the years getting up to that, she had Alzheimer's. So probably the person that I probably most wanted to share and recognize the achievements I was able to do, I wasn't able to do. And I think that right there, to anyone that's an entrepreneur, should remind them that you want to cherish every moment, because a lot of the moments, if you're as close as I was, are not going to be forever.
You talk about competitors, like you can go up against the 800-pound gorilla per se. How do you view competition?
Competition is proven. I mean, I've lived 14 years in the internet where I've seen AOL be the 800-pound gorilla, then Yahoo be the 800-pound gorilla, then Google becoming the 800-pound gorilla, and now it's Apple and it's Facebook and stuff. So that's so many different gorillas in a 14-year-old span. What that really tells you is that there's so much opportunity if you just refine what people are doing. And the difference is that it's not like you want to come up with and saying, I'm going to create a better Facebook. That's probably not the right way to do it. What you can say is there's probably a feature within Facebook that they're not looking at so great, but I'm looking at it, and that's going to be my niche, right? That's how you overcome competition, is that you figure out their weaknesses and you use a better way to go ahead and refine that by creating a better business out of it.
If there was one piece of advice that you would give startups, like if you remember nothing else, remember this.
Never let failure even be an option. If you got passion, check, and you got objectivity, check, and everything's with logic, use that as inspiration to realize that sometimes you need 5 no's or 87 no's, but eventually it'll be a yes. And the reward of that, right, outweighs all the rejections, because it's never rosy. You're going to have more crap days than good days, but that one really good day where you're able to overcome the obstacle makes up for it all.